Hello there, and thanks for visiting the Villa Varykino YouTube channel. I'm Kristy.
And I'm Matt.
We're long-standing Star Wars fans who live and breathe Star Wars every day.
Welcome to another installment of Our Week of Star Wars, a series recapping the Star Wars fun we've had during the past week. First up, let's talk about the fact that Star Wars Day, May the 4th, fell on a Saturday this year, which meant we pretty much had a Star Wars weekend. Lots and lots of events and announcements and a little bit of shopping thrown in there as well.
May the 4th is always a big day for every Star Wars fan, with lots of things to watch and buy, things to get excited about in terms of product releases and announcements. There was just so much this year. It's almost getting too much to keep up with, especially if you are a collector. You feel like your wallet is being pulled in every different direction. We had new reveals from Hot Toys, new stuff from Lego. Hasbro was announcing stuff. There were pre-orders all over the place. And for us locally, there was some crazy sales that we were jumping on as well. So while we were able to grab a few things locally, the rest of our purchases were online, as you would expect. So unfortunately for us here in New Zealand, those are going to drip their way in from overseas over the next week or two, and we'll definitely reveal some of our favorite finds and purchases from May 4th here on the channel.
One of the biggest sort of events or series of events over the weekend was the re-release of the original trilogy and prequel trilogy in the cinemas. That actually started off on May the 2nd for us when we went to see The Phantom Menace, celebrating its 25th anniversary. That was a really good start and an early start to the weekend in some ways to see The Phantom Menace on the big screen.
There was also an extra preview of The Acolyte that screened after the credits rolled. That was quite fun to see as well, a little bit of an extended scene there.
And we watched the original trilogy on the Saturday and the prequel trilogy on the Sunday. Again, fantastic to see those. We didn't watch episode 1 twice because we'd already seen that one earlier on the Thursday, but we did conclude the prequel trilogy. And particularly, there's some really good scenes that show up fantastically in the scope of the theatre.
Yeah, for us here in New Zealand, the original trilogy films do air on occasion. Some of our local theatre chains do sort of reissue classic films from time to time, but the prequels are ones that definitely don't show up very often. So we were particularly excited to see these again on the big screen.
So in between watching those movies, we did sneak in a little bit of shopping, as we've already mentioned, and there were announcements online, including a few things like the release of a new Acolyte trailer and the release of the Tales of the Empire on Disney+.
Of course, on May 4th, we got to watch the new anthology animated series, Tales of the Empire. I've been so looking forward to this. It focused on Morgan Elsbeth and Barriss Offee. I am a fan of Barriss, so I was really keen to see how they were going to extend her story beyond what we saw in the Clone Wars. And this has me wanting more. I won't get into spoilers, but honestly, I'm kind of sad this was just a really short anthology series. I really want to know more. They kind of left it a little bit open. It was so much fun, and I want more of it.
Yeah, they're really well done. It's nice animation style and some real... I like this approach, and I think I might have mentioned this when we talked about it last week even. I like the approach of just taking a couple of characters and delving into not their entirety of their backstory, but just some specific chapters of their backstory in significant detail. It's a fun way to really come to a greater understanding of the characters without bogging us down too much.
And the format of these series, starting off Tales of the, there is so much they could do. It reminds me of those old books. We could have Tales from Jabba's Palace. You know, there's all sorts of Tales of the Bounty Hunters. I want to see them do it. And I wish we got this more than just once a year. I wish that this was a much more regular thing. I think it is fantastic. Unfortunately, we don't know if Lucasfilm has any other kind of Clone Wars / Bad Batch type of animated series in the works. I was really crossing my fingers that they would announce whatever is coming next now that the Bad Batch has sadly finished, but we didn't get an announcement there. So I'm hoping that perhaps they've got something down the line to reveal for us.
I figure they must have, but on that topic, yes, we did watch the finale of Bad Batch over the past week, so yeah, that was kind of a big deal as well.
Yeah, I had no idea which direction they were going to go. It was leading up. It could be really dark. It could be, full of hope. And once I watched that finale, I got quite emotional. This was such the perfect ending to it. I honestly can't imagine how they would have done it any other way now that we've seen that finale, and I absolutely love it. I'm so sad we don't get to follow their story along, but I thought those final scenes in particular were just the most perfect, lovely ending to wrap up the story arc, and I'm really going to miss these characters. I thought it was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it was a very satisfying end for a few characters in particular, and it kind of, again, without trying not to get too much into spoilers, it really it was satisfying because it sort of showed that not everybody that has a big involvement in the Star Wars has to continue doing so. Some people can
just retire and have a happy ending. We know that a lot of the major Star Wars characters, when we think about, Han Solo, Luke, Leia, they don't get their happily ever after in the sunset type moments. And sometimes it feels like it's almost like too peaceful for some characters, but it's really fun to have those moments where they do get just to live out their life in peace.
And at a very, very high level, it sort of helps resolve this notion that just because you appear in the prequel trilogy era, you have to have an explanation as to what you were doing in the original trilogy era. Every time you see someone crop up in the rebellion in the prequel trilogy, that the question pops up, why don't we see them in the original trilogy? This sort of says sometimes people just step out.
Yeah, that they've earned their rest and they want to just live their life.
So that aspect of
it. It wasn't, we didn't need to throw them back into danger or into harm's way, or that they had to sort of fulfill some sort of duty that they have served, and it's their time to just be happy. So it just filled me with so much joy, the way that they had closed out that show, and I'm just absolutely waiting to see what's next from Lucasfilm Animation and the mind of Dave Filoni.
So also on the topic of May the 4th, in Star Wars The Old Republic, the MMORPG game, each year they release a new droid companion, a droid pet, usually inspired by May the 4th in some shape or form. This year's new companion pet is in fact inspired by Darth Maul, so celebrating the Phantom Menace anniversary in some ways.
This is quite a spooky looking droid. It's got a big yellow eye on the front, and it's got red and black inspired paintwork that's very obviously inspired by Darth Maul. I thought this one was a really fun way of kind of giving a little bit of a nod to the prequels in this game.
So you just had to sign into your account during the May the 4th period and a few days after to get that droid pet for free in the game.
As we both run the Star Wars New Zealand website and fan community, we often get interview requests around Star Wars Day, and this year was no different. I spoke to Radio New Zealand, also known as RNZ, about how Kiwi fans in New Zealand are celebrating Star Wars Day, where I discussed how we celebrate it and how other fans would like to celebrate the iconic Star Wars films, especially with the marathon screenings in cinema this year. They also published the interview in text format on the website, along with some photos of us in costume, and I'll have a link of that down below so you can read that if you want.
So in terms of Star Wars shopping, yes, we did in fact make use of some of the May the 4th discounts and sales that were going on. Some of these were more widespread and actually deeper than we anticipated, and we couldn't resist.
Yeah, there were some sales near us locally that had 40% off, which was unreal.
Across the board.
We've never seen it, just a widespread 40% off Star Wars toys sale. So we, of course, had to grab a few things. So while we were out watching the original trilogy on May 4th, of course, we had to grab a few things during the sales. So we picked up the Lego Droideka that's brand new. We also managed to grab the vintage collection from The Mandalorian, the Scout Trooper with speeder bike and Grogu. Here in New Zealand, if it's a vehicle or a beast or anything like that, it tends to be very, very expensive. So it was great to get that one at a deep discount. We also picked up the recently released Black Series Archive, Luke Skywalker in his X-Wing pilot outfit. That's a classic one that we had to add to our collection. I also managed to pick up on clearance for less than half price the Funko Pop Vinyl Valentine's Day chocolate style Han Solo. And lastly, I found 3 more of the Bounty Collection Series 5 Grogu figures. These, again, were less than half price, so absolutely fantastic to round out a little bit of the Bounty Collection there.
So Lego puts out its Star Wars Day promotions and new releases a little bit earlier for people who are members of their Insiders program. So on May the 1st, we placed an order for some Lego products in order to get some of their gifts with purchases, and those all just arrived after a few days of packing and shipping.
Yeah, this was great. We wanted to pick up some of those brand new sets, especially ones from the Phantom Menace, and We got a bonus there of the free gifts as well. It's always great to get free Star Wars stuff, free Lego stuff for just buying the things that you want anyway. So we picked up 3 sets from Lego. We picked up the Brickhead's Phantom Menace set with 6 characters. Absolutely love that one. The Bark Speeder Escape set and the Mos Espa Pod Race diorama. And with those 3, we qualified for the 3 free gifts there. Can't wait to build the Trade Federation Troop Transport. That was the absolute highlight there. And we also used some points to get a Lego Star Wars poster as well.
And finally, in terms of sales and discounts associated with May the 4th, we picked up a Funko Pop vinyl Return of the Jedi, Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker scene that comes in quite a large box. It's 2 figures with a backdrop.
And of course, that wasn't the only Star Wars shopping we did over the past week, but as I mentioned earlier, most of it is coming from overseas. So as soon as those parcels arrive, we will share with you here on the channel.
Some fun unboxings coming up with those as well, yeah. So unboxing videos that we have uploaded to our YouTube channel starts off with continuation of our Stormtrooper series. We opened up a slightly older figure, the carbonized graphite Stormtrooper. We've had this in its package for a while. Quite fun to actually see it out of the package so we can actually see the details and the sort of paint finish on that in real life under natural lights.
Continuing our celebration of the Bad Batch series, I opened up the Black Series Elite Squad Trooper. This one's a bit of a prequel theme. It's got that Phase 2 clone trooper armor. It was really fun to get this one out and take a closer look because it is quite a dark figure in its packaging.
We went into a bit more detail about the shopping and purchases that we had from May the 4th with a vlog and a look at the purchases that we made specifically in a single video. And we did a similar thing for our May the 4th Lego Star Wars purchases and the promos associated with that.
This week I also unboxed and built the Lego Star Wars Brickhead's Clone Commander Cody that also released on May 1st. I really like the Brickhead's line. I think this one is a really fantastic addition. I love the way that the Clone Trooper armor renders in the Brickhead's style. I also opened up one of my birthday gifts from a few weeks ago, the Gentle Giant Ahsoka Tano mini bust, as she is seen in the Rebels finale. Absolutely beautiful sculpting on this one.
And because we were in the mood to celebrate The Phantom Menace, having just watched it, we opened up the 3 pop vinyl figures from the Duel of the Fates series. So this is Darth Maul, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn as seen in The Phantom Menace, all with bases that fit together and a backdrop that fits together to recreate the scene, the lightsaber fight from The Phantom Menace.
It was really fun seeing these all put together. We've had them stored in their boxes for a while, but we thought after watching The Phantom Menace on the big screen, it would be the perfect time to celebrate The Phantom Menace and open up such an iconic scene as depicted in the Funko Pop vinyl range. It absolutely looks amazing.
Yeah, they look so much better out of the packaging, and they come together in quite a close configuration, so they look quite different than you might imagine just seeing them in the boxes.
And lastly, I take a look at the Hot Wheels Starships Select TIE Fighter. This is a slightly older one, but I recently tracked down the variant one, so it was the perfect time to get both of them out and compare the differences and similarities between these 2 ships.
On that note, thanks for listening to another episode of our Week of Star Wars. We appreciate you taking your time to listen to us.
And stay tuned for another episode next week. And as always, may the Force be with you. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a like. Check out our other videos and subscribe for alerts about new uploads. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.